It's week 10, and while the season's wrapping up, we're looking to the present and the future for what lies ahead for the UFL. And plus, we call an audible on all things summer stock. This is the episode 88 of the UFL podcast, and it starts right now.
1, 2, 3.
Everybody into the UFL podcast. I am Zach Heilman hosting this week, and man, it is the end of the regular season. It is finally here. It speeds by every season since we've kicked this show off, and once again, wow, we're already at the tail end of all things getting you set for postseason football. But we're not all the way done. We got some stuff to tidy up. The league still got a few things to kind of sort out, but we get to at least preview it and talk to you about that and a few things that lie ahead for this summer that we were wondering were going to happen, and we'll talk a bit more, and we're happy to say they are indeed happening once again. And yeah, going to be a good time, and even some more stuff we got for you for the championship game that I'll let the ref talk about. Before I let him do that, though, I got to ask, hey, how's it going? How are you doing, sir? Look, I follow your neck of the woods a lot, partially because my job makes me do so. Did your Fiat get destroyed by hail?
I'm shocked it didn't. I am shocked that it didn't, because the video I shared on Twitter actually didn't do it justice. I thought there was a tree falling on my house repeatedly over and over and over. Like maybe there was branches breaking off, because all you could hear in the house was go, 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 go. I was like, what the hell is going on? I looked at it because I was like, there's got to be like a tornado or something. I mean, I am Texas, and I was talking about being superstitious before the show, Zach, and I'll tell you this: be careful what you say, folks, because I just remember ages ago when I moved to Texas, I was like, a tornado? What's a tornado gonna do to me? Since then, I've had too many tornadoes too close to me for my liking, and I didn't see it. I don't know if anybody reported it, but yeah, there was definitely like golf ball sized hail just flying everywhere. And kudos to the Fiat for not getting all dinged up. And I mean, kudos to my wife too, because she moved the Tesla under a covered area before the hail started. Because I'll be honest, I don't think the Tesla would have held up. Funny enough, Fiat, good old fix it again, Tony, sitting out there, standing strong, no dents. Oh, that might be a dent, but that wasn't from no hail. That must have been from like a rhinoceros or something with the little Fiat.
That thing's seen some things too, so it's.
Oh yeah,
I'm glad it is surviving the gauntlet that is Texas weather right now, and. Yeah, you look, besides football, I'm honest, you want to ask me about weather in the U.S. lately? That has been mostly my job right now. Trust me.
Yeah, what's going on? It seems crazy. Well, actually, let me throw something at you. I heard it's the transition from La Nina to La Nino. Am I right?
Hey, ding, 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 ding. Someone's got it correct.
Welcome to the weather podcast, boys.
I am not a meteorologist, but I am very much on the path to it from my TV viewing.
Speaking of weather, real quick, just quick shout out to Max Velocity. If you're into weather and weather related videos and radar watching, check out Max Velocity. He's I think he's in college to be a meteorologist, but he's good. I will say he said there wasn't going to be any tornadoes the other day, and there was. So you know what? He's still getting there, but he's still entertaining. Check him out.
You can't hit them all. You can't bat 100 as a meteorologist. That's just how it is. But
yeah, tell him the refs
doing good work. He's doing good work. Anyway, we're definitely, weather will affect any of this stuff that's happening up with this current weekend, but also what we'll be talking about for the summer and fall that just got announced today. So, and we assume this was going to happen. We'll talk more about it momentarily, but you know, it did get confirmed, much like how another said thing got confirmed that I'm happy got confirmed too. I have a lot of teasing. We got to do some stuff that gets through the usual plugs. It's how it is. So, hey, are you following us on social media yet? If you're not, hey, get on and go on to your social media accounts, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. Post it on there at UFL Podcast for all of your favorite content following along with the league. And also when we post shows, I mean, you don't want to miss out on that. That helps you notify when we get to do new episodes. So, hey, go and follow us on there. Be sure to also subscribe to this channel. Click the bell. Builds morale, not only for you, but for us too. We're growing. Getting some new audience members every day. Glad to have you folks join us along for the ride on here or on Around the UFL with us doing that new experiment this season, and that was going off great. So trust me, that ain't going away anytime soon, even with the regular season wrapping things up. By the way, want to help support the show, and definitely we appreciate anything you can. Go on over to breakingt.com. Use the code USFL Newsroom. Yes, that's right. We are using the old code, the USFL Newsroom code. When you check out, 10% off your purchase there. That it goes directly to us to help support our channel and our website. And you also get some sweet swag on there. They got XFL, USFL stuff. They got tons of other sports stuff too. And you can use any of that when you check out using code at USFL Newsroom for supporting the channel. Finally, and I am glad I can say I got to pick that stuff up this week, and it'll be in my mailbox soon. Be a ducking legend and support the Ducky collection that we have going on. And look, that goes directly to Feeding America. All proceeds for that, when you buy from us, that goes directly to Feeding America. We were able to send 1,000 meals to them last year. We're hoping to beat that. We're trying to beat that, and it's pretty sweet swag this year. And you only get it one time. Once this version of the Ducky collection is done, it's gone forever. There is no rehashing. We are not doing it again. It is exclusive one-time merch. So be a ducking legend. Help support the Ducky collection and help support Feeding America too by buying yourself a sweet t-shirt, a sweet sweatshirt. I got the sweatshirt myself embroidered on the chest. I can't wait to get it. It's a nice little piece that I'm going to be rocking when I go out and about here over in Arizona, where we spread the Ducky merch and Ducky IP worldwide. And you also help Feed America too. And finally, and I know I said finally a little bit ago, but I do mean finally, we called an audible. And I'm going to let the ref do this because we weren't sure we were going to do this. We kind of said, maybe not this year. But we called an audible because we got a way of wrapping around where it's a unique spin on the summer stock flavor. Take it away, sir.
Summer Stock 3, I know there was so many sad, so many disappointed, sheer tears shed across the globe. We heard you loud and clear. And you know what I'll tell you, Zach? It's a completely different environment when we hosted Summer Stock 1, Summer Stock 2. Where were those held? Canton, Ohio. You know what you couldn't do in Canton, Ohio? You could not tailgate. So it made a great opportunity for everybody to huddle up and come to one spot and watch the show. Well, I think things are going to be a little bit different in St. Louis. And from what I've gathered and from what I've seen in different videos and pictures and from friends of ours and people all over the spring football community is that the city of St. Louis likes to tailgate. And you know what? If you can't make it to the game, we want to take you to the tailgate. Here's the deal. Things are going to be fun this year. This is actually going to be a real fun experiment. If you've ever watched IRL streaming, that's what Zach and I are going to be doing on the ground at the championship game. We're going to be out at the tailgate. We're going to be walking around showing you the tailgates in action, letting you meet people from all over the spring football community. I'll tell you this. I know folks from the Fuel Network are going to be there. Arlington Lane, I know the Predator couple from Houston's going to be there. I'm hoping our friend Mark Perry from News Hub is there and we can do it in person. But the name of the game is we're going to be on the ground. We're going to be walking around. And, of course, we're going to be bringing you all the same content. We're going to be bringing you interviews, good times, good guests, and who knows, maybe we'll even do an online giveaway. In fact, we probably will. But here's the thing. I don't have the time. We got to get that sorted. I got to figure out what the situation is. But join us because it's going to be exciting. It's going to be something different. And it's going to be something new that we haven't seen in any of, well, I guess the closest to it was Spring Stock 3 this year when we had Mrs. Predator walking around with the fan cam. So we're going IRL.
That is definitely where that idea spawned from, if we had to point at something. So think of it as like that, but now we get to be the one holding the camera this
Now,
time
Mark-
and enjoying the show.
Mark my words, Zach. If I can figure out a way for us to do TTS with a speaker to where
Oh my
people
God.
can spend money and TTS their UFL love to all the tailgates, best bet I'm going to do it.
That'd be incredible.
I think I can figure it out. If anybody knows, let us know down in the comments below, because I'm telling you, Summer Stock 3, I was excited, and then I was sad that we weren't going to do something that wasn't going to be as traditional as possible. But now I'm telling you, I'm more excited than any show we've done before, because I feel like we're really testing the limits of like what the newsroom media arm is capable of. No, we don't even need a location. We can do it on the go, on the fly. We have all the pieces. We have all the things. And hell, it might even be in 4K. So
That is also true. That is
So
also
tune
true.
in. We'll have a link up here shortly. I just need to figure out the time. All I ask is that you check it out. Check it out for a little bit, because it's going to be fun. It's going to be different. And like I said, if you're a fan of IRL streaming, I think you're going to love this, because this is like, it's a guerrilla show. I don't know how else to explain it. So
The summer stock continues. That's the main thing, because that was like we told you a few weeks ago. We even said on here we were not sure we were going to do it, and we got busy lives. But hey, if there's a way we could still bring it and bring the spirit of the stock, we bring it over to you. And this will be the most unique one we do yet. Will stuff go off the rails? Most likely.
I hope so.
Will stuff be crazy because it's IRL and there's no scripting or anything? You're damn right there's going to be. I mean, it's not like we script anything anyway, but like, I'm just saying, it gets a little crazy when you go into a tailgate. It's going to be a fun time. I'm going to be slamming back a few brewskis. I don't care. It's going to happen.
That's the thing. And then you can drink beer with us IRL. And if you're there in person, you just look at the camera. Where's the ref and Zach? Pull up the stream. Look for a landmark and be like, oh, there they are. They're that direction because I see the arch. Come and find us. In a good way, not in a bad way.
When I was there in 2020, I loved that tailgate setup was fantastic. I loved it. It was like I said, I think I told you before show, I was in like, I think the west side of the dome as well as the north side of the dome. And someone in the comments probably going to say that I was wrong, but I was like, one of those, I was on two sides of the dome. They had it both packed out, both in like, one was on like in a concrete lot right in downtown. The other was a catty corner in like this dirt lot. The dirt lot was fantastic. Tons of just really good tailgate food. We had a bunch of bags going on. That's where I saw my first instance of the F. Stan Kroenke jerseys that still roam to this day at a regular interval over there. Of course, screw Stan Kroenke.
Hell yeah.
Definitely screw that man. So it's going to be good. No matter who's playing, I can't wait to be out there because the tailgates are going to be great. And I'm pretty sure that even my folks, when they're out there, are going to set something up because I've already talked with them. And I would not be surprised if we get something set up on the Kyle and Clan angle.
Which is another thing. Summer Stock 3 Tailgate Edition is going to feature Mama and Papa Kyleman. We had Grandma Kyleman at the Motor City meetup.
Yes, we did.
We had did your aunt stop by there, or did we just talk to her after?
That was post Motor City meetup. That was the cigar lounge.
Yes. Well, either way,
great stories from that cigar lounge trip too. But
100%. It's always a family affair here at Newsroom. So come and join us. Like I said, Mama and Papa Kyleman, first confirmed guests. I think, you know what, I'll even confirm it because I'm going to force him to go. Confirmed guest, Ducky. We know he loves to talk on camera. Wait till you see him in person. He talks even more. I'm going to make him. And because I'm going to be in person.
He'll be there. Well, we're going to get him there. We're going to get him there. And of course, your other PFN crew that we know are also going to.
James will be there. I'm going to try to convince Luke to be there. I know Arlington, A-Train, Arlington Lane, the Predator couple from all the Fuel Network guys.
Who were so hospitable when we were down there week 1, too, by the way.
They've been hospitable every week. I mean, real quick, shout out to the Predator couple for hosting one hell of a tailgate every week in Houston. And then beyond that, they're like super fans. They were out at every one of those road games this year. You remember last year, I felt like I was traveling every weekend going to games. I didn't do that this year. They did. I love to see it. Shout out to them. You all know who I'm talking about. They're the people with the masks. But anyway,
they're
going to be.
They're like
at Summer
every
Stock
Houston
somewhere.
broadcast. You see that mask, those masks, because it just stands out.
100%.
So
Summer Stock 3 Tailgate Edition. We'll get you links and we'll get you times. But either way, it's going to be good.
Official announcement trailer comes out next week too, so stay around for that. But it's happening, people. Just a brand new look. All right, time for some other stuff that will be brand newish, but not really. UFL. So, got a big announcement today as we are recording that the showcases are back. If you were in the XFL last year, if you were following along with them setting up for the 2023 season, you know very well what we're talking about. The league set up basically independent league-run showcases from the summer and fall all across the country, and we're trying to bring as many young talents as possible in. They did an HBCU one as well last year. Now, this one doesn't specifically say if one of those is, but we can tell you the locations and dates of all of the specific showcases. But they run from earliest July 12th, last one being October 20th for any regular player in any other specialty position that's not special teams. The last one of the entire stretch is December 7th out in San Diego, California. That'll be a specialist showcase of kickers, punters, you name it. But there's going to be a total of 6 for standard players. July 12th in St. Louis, July 14th in Washington, D.C., you have July 26th in Houston, and I wonder if you'll be able to attend that one.
I'm going.
Creds.
I'm getting in somehow, whether it's a tryout or something. I'm getting in.
RefCam / vlog ref would definitely do very well out there.
100%.
So wait for some footage. I imagine that one will definitely be coming. Stallions fans, if you're interested, and it depends on if they have accessibility. I guess pundits, I would say. Again, I'm speaking as if I know this. I do not, but if they allow some accessibility, they'll be in Atlanta 2 days later on the 28th. The last 2 showcases, September 29th on a Sunday. That's going to be out in Orlando, Florida. And then finally, San Diego, California on October 20th. And they go to San Diego 3 times, by the way. The 2 specialists for punters and kickers showcases. So the first one is the day before on October 19th. That is through Novak Kicking and Consulting. Yep. And then the last one of the year on December 7th is through John Carney Showcase. That's December 7th. Again, San Diego, California as well. So more details will probably be coming out in the coming months. But we did talk about this last show, given that the draft was kind of the bigger presence that was coming up, and that got officially confirmed. And we're kind of now seeing kind of the runway of what the offseason is starting to take shape. Now, the last showcase is the 20th. So right away, and credit, this could change, but given that you can probably more so sign free agents for the punter and kicker, which I imagine happens more, it almost makes me think with the showcases that this more aligns towards a late fall draft.
That's what it feels like.
Yeah. The reason I read that is if you read the press release, which I'm going to read off the first part of this, quote, these showcases provide players a chance to enlist or exhibit their skills in front of the UFL coaches and personnel directors. Players will be evaluated based on performance for inclusion in the UFL draft player pool for 2025. So look, if the 6 are for the pool, it's got to be no earlier than November to late October that the draft's going to take place. Speculation zone on this completely.
Of course, yeah.
But logically, it makes sense. If they're all for the player pool, you can't have the draft, you would think, unless they're separate drafts with the 6. Which, I mean, hey, you could do a veteran and a rookie draft, but now it's not as much sense when there's no merger, unless there's expansion, but there's also been rumors of no expansion. I mean, what do you think of this? Like, there's a lot of, this kind of lays out a pattern, but now there's a few different places I'm looking at with this whole schedule for this next year.
Well, before we even get into that, I actually did some snooping around. So I have the first 3 locations locked down here.
Okay.
So St. Louis is at Missouri Baptist University. DC is at University of Maryland. And the best one, of course, the Houston showcase at Houston Christian University. Okay, the rest of them are still TBD. I also have times, too, which I don't think they had that in the release. So
no, they do not.
St. Louis, most of them are at 7 in the morning. So St. Louis, DC, Atlanta, 7 in the morning. Houston's at noon, and the rest of them are TBD, to be determined on that. Now, yeah, I'm with you, Zach, though, just to get back to the timeline-wise. It feels like, well, one, it kind of says it right in the print. You go into these showcases, it gives you an opportunity to be entered in the player pool for the draft for the 2025 season. Could we see 2 drafts? I mean, we could. It could be one, like you mentioned. If they expand, I assume that if they expand, the teams will get a chance to pick from the existing teams, but they're not going to fill up their whole rosters with that. So that could be an opportunity there. Secondarily, we could see 2 distinct drafts where we have both the collegiate draft that we saw in the USFL and then this draft where you're more likely to have players join that season to and it kind of makes sense because this ends in October. That goes into November. You potentially have your draft in November. December is kind of get everything solidified, contracts ready. January training camp, and like we talked about in this past Monday, potentially a March 1st kickoff. Could be late March still. Nothing's official until it comes from the league. But it feels like that's what's going on, whether there's going to be 1 or 2 drafts. There's at least going to be this one draft that happens after, October 20th. It feels like. And then, like you mentioned, with the December 7th specialist showcase, although, yeah, they might pick people up in the draft, that's something that you can pick up right before training camp on free agency and be fine.
Right. And look, this is where I think that there's some details that I do want to hear more about. Absolutely, I think you're right, is that there is a chance you could do, and the XFL did, by the way, if we're going to model this and talk about this, comparing it to the XFL, because this is very much more an XFL thing, credit, the USFL did have their own showcases, but they were through more of a third-party means. They weren't as advertised through the league. It was more they let grid camps, which it wasn't grid camps at the time, but they let the folks who run grid camp essentially set those up. John DiFilippo and a few others would go and help kind of usher in a select small pool of talent from free agent lists, and then they would go and show off, and then that would be open to having all the film. These are like straight up, almost like they're almost like a bunch of combines, miniature combines, like the XFL did last season, same deal. But the difference is now, and this is where I'm kind of waiting and seeing, like you're talking, is we have mentions of a quote collegiate draft. Well, is it one's a collegiate, one's a veteran draft? Is it that you have to have the ones who do the showcases that are veterans in the sense, like they're not officially right out of college? They go into the veteran draft because they didn't have rights right away with teams. How does free agency work?
Right.
Which is something that's a huge question for me is, I could see, for example, teams that have those 1-year deals with players this year and they get released to the NFL. If they don't get signed, their rights go immediately back to them if they want to have first come, first serve. But then how does it work with veterans? Because if you have a veteran draft, couldn't you just do free agency at that point? There's a lot of stuff I want to see answered because if it's a general draft, okay, whatever. We'll throw everybody in. It is what it is. But in theory, veteran in the space, you're not a rookie after 1 year. You could be USFL rookie, but
right.
Those are things I want to see answered. I'm trying to ask around about that too, because those are things, it gets wonky. Free agency with this, like last 2 years you and I have covered it, especially USFL wise, it was kind of wonky. There were some stuff that counted, some stuff that didn't. The XFL one kind of was like that, where post draft, now you're a free agent. It's like, oh, okay, now he's a free agent.
This is why
I want to see what that's like.
That's why the New Jersey Generals aren't around anymore. Remember when everybody was mad? They didn't even get punished. Oh, they got
picked
punished.
up so many free agents just to get freaking slammed in the collegiate draft.
They're like, oh, that'll teach you.
No, you don't get them. Let them go.
Yeah, give those players back.
Give them back.
Anyway,
that's why they had a losing season the second year. So they couldn't just hoard everybody.
That was a joke, just in case anybody was curious. I know somebody's gonna walk away and be like, "The ref said that the New Jersey Generals aren't around because they picked up." No, it was a joke, just in case. I just got to call it out.
Pause button on that being real. So please do not take that as anything real.
It's one of those things, as you're saying it, you're like, "Yeah, that's funny," and you're like, "Oh man, someone out there is gonna think I'm serious," and that. Someone's going to use that as a clip and be like, look at the ref saying this nonsense. I'm like, no, but it was a joke. Anyway.
But look, that's what we're waiting on, because the showcases, it's great. They're going to get more of a pool. You're probably going to, like we've talked, you're probably going to see a lot of guys that are undrafted directly from this first year in the NFL that'll get these early ones in the summer, methinks. And then you see the September one and the later ones. And that's where I see a lot of the guys that got let go from camps immediately after training camp is over, and they have to cut down to those 53-man rosters. Mm-hmm. You might also see a few veterans, I think, but again, I don't know what the full stipulation is. I guess as long as you're allowed to be entered in. And memory serves from last season, you did have a pay-in fee, but remember, if you get picked up, they give you their money reimbursed. So I'm assuming, I'm going to speculate that is what they will be planning on doing, but there's more details that need to be revealed here. So
I'm curious. I'm taking a look at it right now because earlier, I was looking at the release and I went to the registration piece, and I'm curious because last year in the XFL, when they announced it, they put the pricing and the cost and everything. Okay, yeah, here it is. So basic player registration, $265. Registration plus video package, $395. Fee includes player registration, UFL Gold Band video, showcase player performance video. It doesn't really go into detail on if that gets refunded if you get signed, but I would assume that probably is the case. But of course, you find out more through the league officially if you're interested in registering, and you can register at showcases.theufl.com. I do know we have a lot of we have players and coaches, but I know there's a lot of people that are looking to either get back in the game or get into the game that do watch this show. So if you're interested, head over to showcases.theufl.com. It's starting.
Yep. The beginning of the off-season items have begun. Again, we got a collegiate draft that's coming up. We got the showcases that are now being announced. Actually, another thing that we jumped on with the show, and leave it to, of course, Luke Miller for checking his email inbox. It's either him or Jake with Panther Shadow when it comes to season ticket items. Mm-hmm. But they have sent out emails that sounds like deposits for new season tickets are coming very soon, mm-hmm. and renewals will be very soon after that. So they are already going to be hitting the ground running with the deposits. It sounds like almost immediately after the season ends, they're going to open those up this year.
And
so no waiting around.
And you only need to drop $50 to keep your seat, keep your deposit. You don't need to put the full thing down. Yeah, I got mine earlier. I kind of half read it, and I was like, oh, crap, do I owe money right now? I'm more curious to see if, hopefully things go through with, what we heard with the potential that TDECU might be back in play next year. The league, has been talking to them. Renovations won't be complete by the time next season comes, but I think they will be complete enough because when we talk about the renovations at TDECU, it's not just inside the football stadium. There's things around the campus that they're cleaning up as well. So, I mean, we'll have to see. Nothing's official until it's in a press release from the league. But I'll tell you this, Zach, depending on which stadium it is, my seat choice is going to be different because at TDECU, you could get, front center, the club area section, that the middle sections all had seat backs. And there was a nice club section to where if it was raining, you could go in there that had seats. They had special food options, drink options, no bathroom lines, you name it, they had it. And I could even do without the club room, but I really did like the seat back. It was nice and comfy. Whereas at Rice Stadium, in those same seats, it's all bench seating. Mm-hmm. And the only places that have seat backs are in the last 10 rows on the visitor side. But they also get shade. So depending on what stadium we're in, that's going to impact where I actually want to sit. And so I hope that that's accounted for, because what I don't want to do is assume we're going to be at TDECU or assume we're going to be at Rice Stadium, because my seat choices are going to be the complete opposite. And as much as I love sitting like front row center, I don't love sitting in the sun.
I could tell from the lobster pick.
Yeah.
That was
not my greatest day.
No.
Especially after that. Oh my God, boy, were fans disappointed after that loss. Oh.
Well, I mean, I didn't think we had it. I thought we weren't going to have a shot. It was going to be packing it in, but Bryce Perkins came out and played last week. Clearly, it does, and it's just insult to injury for you. You had to deal with that for a week or so. Are you still dealing with that? You all right? You're not sizzling anymore?
I mean, I always felt fine. The sun. What is the sun going to do to me? See, this is what gets me in trouble, Zach. I made the joke about tornadoes. Now, anyway. No, I actually felt fine. My wife was like, oh, you need aloe or something. I'm like, nah, I feel fine. I don't know. It looks bad, and it probably isn't great, but it didn't hurt. I don't know. I'm a grizzled veteran in pain. I can just turn it on and turn it off at this point, unless it's like a severed limb or like, stepping on a Lego or something dumb like stubbing your toe. I'm fine. Everything else, I'm fine. Sunburn, whatever.
All right.
I'm scared of water. The sun, I'm fine. Water, dude, nothing scares me more than the thought of just being dropped into the middle of the ocean with nothing.
Oh, don't start. That's type of. I hate being in lakes because of crap like that.
Yeah, same here. Once I learned there was alligators in our lake, I was like, why'd you let me in there? I'm not. No. I mean, I'm going to the pool. Sorry, boys.
No. No, I'm shutting that one. I'm shutting that one down. I'm out.
Yeah.
Anyway, we got games to preview this week. By the way, we said future and present. So in the present, we got some scenarios to talk about. Yes, there is stuff to play for this week. There's also even more to play for that's not postseason that we're going to talk as well with this. So both conferences do have stuff to play for. I'm going to put a massive fat asterisk on the USFL one because let's face it, this is really for bragging rights. If you're doing it, it's not. There is no home field advantage to play for. Mm-hmm. We have talked extensively on the show that Ford Field has obligations that they have to attend to. They would not have availability. So even if, and I'm going to say the scenario right now, even if Michigan clinches by winning and beating Birmingham by 23 points, that is what they have to beat them by
21.
To avoid any other tiebreakers going into effect. They would get it, but that would be for bragging rights to say that you won the conference. You were the top dog in the conference. Mm-hmm. So simple as that. Birmingham simply just has to win. That is. Oh,
you were right about.
Or they have to
points.
Lose by 22 or by 22 or less.
Don't listen to me, guys. Zach, you really are Mr. Digits because I'm looking at that. I was like, dude, that says 21, and then I read the sentence. I'm like, oh no, it surely is 23. Yeah, there you go.
I'm just saying, I got the numbers. I got all the digits and details for you. But yes, 20. So Birmingham, you got a pretty easy path to just lock up getting the bragging rights. You're going to play twice in a row at Protective Stadium. There is no change. So I almost came on here and wanted to rip up something to just make a freaking bit about it. But there, I got a big fat asterisk for you on the screen. The XFL side, it's a little more murky. It's actually a little bit more fun to me to go and check this game out. You should check both out personally because I think, for me, if you're a Panthers fan, let's see if Bryce Perkins gets reps. How do they adjust and kind of prepare the game, or how light of a play calling sheet do you have for Birmingham and Michigan? That's what you watch it for. The other one, these two I expect to play a little hardcore football because not only are they playing to have bragging rights, of course, to say, hey, I won the conference, but winner does get home field advantage. That is confirmed. Whoever takes this game gets to play in their home building next week. And I know that's, if you're looking at both venues, you're going, like if you're a Battlehawks fan, you're probably like, we could probably manage on the road in San Antonio. But trust me, Brahmas fans will be happy if they get to host a game where they don't have to go and play in front of 30,000 people and have to deal with the noise. I imagine that's going to be great. Plus, I bet it's going to be the highest selling San Antonio game of the season. And I bet that team would love to have their top amount of people in that building. Brahmas fans would rally around that. So this is a big deal. To me, the XFL one, if I'm picking the two that day, you should watch both, by the way, if you really have time. I'm going to watch the XFL Conference, essentially Conference Championship Part 1 is what I'm calling it. Because let's face it, it does have some big implications for whoever wins. Not to mention the Brahmas, They're healthy again. And St. Louis, do you rush A.J. McCarron out to get that home field advantage if he's not 100%?
I wouldn't
Some big
do
stuff
it.
going
I
on right
wouldn't
there.
do it. We'll talk about it, but I wouldn't do it. I would not do it.
Finally, the last thing on the docket this week, and oh my God, I was so happy.
Me too.
I sounded
I'm half
like
happy about it.
you're half happy, but I think you have a good chance of getting this certain outcome. I looked at my computer screen when I saw this tweet come out, and I did a Thor Ragnarok where it's like, you know, when Hulk comes out at the freaking Gladiator tournament and Thor turns around and goes, yes! And I went, yes, they did it! The rule of cool! The Pooper Bowl exists, and that's not even my naming, that's yours. But they did it. They brought back the losers match, the toilet bowl, the pooper bowl. The winner of the 2 1-8 teams, which Houston plays Memphis. It happened to line up. The stars just perfectly happened to connect. No reason why. It just did this season. Freaking Daryl Johnson comes on with a video and does just like he did 2 years ago. Winner of this match not only gets first pick of the draft, they get first pick in every round of the damn draft this year. I was like, thank you, sir. Whoever. By the way, there's been like select few people dissing on this. Screw you. They never listed any draft rules to begin the year. What are you talking about? This was a thing that existed in the merger before the merger. This is freaking awesome. This makes the Sunday primetime matchup worth watching now. Even more so than, like, you can be a fan and you can be crazy, but now you have a reason to watch. Your team might get that first pick, but you got to win it, man. There's no freaking tanking here. You got to play the game to win. It's the Al Davis quote. You play to win the game, God damn it. That's what you do. I'm so hyped about this. This is my favorite part of this coming weekend is the Pooper Bowl exists. It's real again. It's back.
We'll get into my thoughts on it, but me too, Zach. We talked about it before going into it. We talked about it even a couple weeks ago of like, hey, look, there's a possibility that these two teams don't win another game.
Like week 7.
Yeah, like maybe even week 6. Like we would go, because I looked at it, I was like, uh-oh. It might be, we might be angling up. We might be brewing up back to a good old poopy bowl. And here we are. I'm so excited. Again, half excited.
Yes.
I'm bummed that my team's in it because we were supposed to win like every other game. I don't know what happened there. But I'll tell you this, Zach. All I know is your team was in the poopy bowl 2 years ago. Your team won the pooper bowl. And here you are. The next year you were in the playoffs. This year you're in the playoffs. And you're arguably a really solid team this year in the 2-year turnaround. Yeah. Now, I'm not going to say it, but let's just hope that things change in Houston. We get the win, and then, man, we got an opportunity to stack it up in every round of that draft and get to where all in 12-0 like we belong. Rough them up.
Look, this is why it matters to me. Because I think, like you just brought up, and I think even not only me, but even, Jake, when we've talked about it, that was a massive turnaround. Now, credit, it took a coaching change a bit, but Steve Kaiser was able to work his magic and kind of play around with the roster a bit, and they got some good pieces for that 4 and 6 squad. They added on some free agents, retained some players in the merger. We're 7-2 now. Mm-hmm. They've had to juggle some things with injury, specifically the quarterback position, but that helped.
Yeah.
The thing is, I love incentivizing stuff that helps kind of give a silver lining to the future for these teams. Because fan bases, look, it's a rough year to be a Memphis or a Houston fan. Arlington as well, but credit. This answered my question that James proposed was, what happens with Arlington? It's like, well, it's kind of what I was expecting. Like, in a traditional sense, Arlington has no say in this. They would be out. So, yes, they would be both 2-8, but let's face it, they already played themselves out of a game. It is what it is.
Well, and even if it comes to tiebreakers, though, I'm pretty confident that the Arlington Renegades would have beaten them just on points based alone, unless it could be, unless they throw up a whole boatload of points this weekend.
See, if Houston wins, if in the tiebreaker scenario, from what I understand, Houston would make Arlington essentially. I don't know. This is why I simply put it as the traditional sense is the loser would win. So ignore the outside noise because no other possible positioning after this week would matter in a traditional sense. That's why I'm kind of like, don't worry about it. I know it sounds like I'm kind of copping out, but I'm like, just don't worry about it. They weren't going to be in this position anyway. Even if they lost to DC, they wouldn't get the first pick. So that's where I sit at it. Less complicated, more just know that we reverse what the two losers were in this bowl. Whoever was supposed to come out, we now flip that script. So that's what's cool. I take it that way. And as even James put it, and we'll debate on this a bit, he thinks that DC is going to lose this week anyway. So, or he thinks there's a good chance. Yeah. Which, I mean, you never know. This is Arlington. They've played close all year. Out of the three worst teams in the league, there is a gap somewhat.
Yeah, no, 100%. 100%. That's why I mean, when you can make the argument, but if I were to look at the teams' records or not, you could take the Memphis Showboats, the Houston Roughnecks, and the Arlington Renegades and put them next to each other, and there's a big difference. Somehow the Roughnecks beat the Renegades, which is grand. I love that.
That's a little biff to me thinking back to that. Really should be a 3-7 squad or something,
I hate it. Anyway, let's get into the week.
Yes, we do. Pooper Bowl will be on the docket, but we got all other games to talk about and break down. Starting off with, and we're going in descending order this week, so keep in mind, starting with Panthers at Stallions. So the championship round part 1, as I'm calling it, on Saturday, this is of the two games. I've already hinted at this. I'm just going to say it again. There's really nothing to play for here except bragging rights. Mm-hmm. And I do want to see what is actually done. Now, we've been in this situation before in years past. Again, 2022 USFL saw the Stars and the Generals play a week before their championship match, and the Generals did walk away from that matchup, but it was all out. They played all their starters. They played the game as if it was a normal mid-season game. Nothing changed. Difference was a week later, New Jersey didn't show up to play in Canton, Ohio, was the thing that happened. Now here, I don't know how hard it'll go. I mean, credit, Birmingham in this situation and Michigan both have teams and quarterbacks they can throw in if they want, if they don't want to start their starters. For example, Adrian Martinez, we know, was backing up Matt Corral for a few games earlier this year. Could this be a game that we see Skip say, screw it, Matt, we need you want to get a little bit more film? Go right ahead. There's nothing really to play for here. And we did kind of go with Adrian at some point in the year. Mm-hmm. I find it interesting when these depth charts come out. I do wonder if that will be the case. On the Michigan side, do you choose to let Bryce Perkins get more reps to get more comfortable with Marcel Belfay? Or do you run with Danny Etling and just and Brian Lewerke, and you just spin around, kind of throw them off a little bit? Don't play into giving Birmingham more film on Bryce and then play Bryce. Mm-hmm. This is stuff that I ask because games like this, again, nothing really matters except the bragging rights if Michigan somehow wins by 23.
Well, that, and like I said, we were kind of talking about this on Monday. To me, it's like you don't want to show everything because you're going to have to play them the next week, right? We kind of saw what that feels like it could have happened with the Generals, right? They went out, they played their regular game, put all their starters in, and, they didn't show up the next week. Now, both of these teams are in an interesting situation because they do have fallbacks at quarterback to draw back on, which it might be to their benefit for these guys to get extra reps going into the playoffs, because in the off chance that you need one of these guys to come in, you don't want to see it. You don't want to see an injury. You don't want to see an illness, whatever it might be. But if you need them to come in the game, wow, it might be nice for them to have had that extra week of on the field game time in recency to the playoffs. Keep them in rhythm, keep them up to date with the play guides. And like you said, Perkins is still kind of getting his feet wet there, doing a good job, mind you.
They are indeed.
I don't want to think about it too much from last week, but case in point, I don't know. To me, that's why, there's nothing to play for, but there's so much intrigue in this game to me. First, with what you mentioned, the depth charts. Who are they playing? Are they going all out? Are they going to be sneaky? And then when they get on the field, what is their style? Because I'll tell you this, maybe not all the coaches, but of all of them, I'll tell you this, Skip Holtz, if there's any guy that's going to play this game to win this game, I feel like it's Skip Holtz, especially coming off of a loss against the Brahmas last week.
What that was, I mean, they kind of got They felt like they got kind of manhandled up front and did not play a smooth game. Defensive penalties too, by the way, which keep in mind, Mr. Hutchins is coming to town, and sadly, John Chavis will not be part of that Stallions crew anymore as a defensive coordinator, which not fully shown circumstances. There were health issues, and eventually just led to, things just went their separate ways. But Anthony Hutchins is going to be coming in. He's going to have to start anchoring that ship. This will be his first true week, really kind of taking the reins. So going to have to get up to speed really quick, for no doubt about it. I'll tell you about the depth pieces, though, Stefan. Michigan's practice report for injuries. Now, credit, they've been having some injuries stack up in a long list lately, but they got a lot of people with some limited or DNP designations from their Tuesday participation. Would be an opportune time where at some point in the game you just pull them to let them rest. Because, I mean, we're talking like some key players here too, by the way. Cole Kikatini, Garrett Marino up in the middle of that line. He's been vital this year in anchoring that presence up the middle. Kai Nakua is on this list as well as a limited participation, just banged up team. Kenny Wilkes as well. Marcus Sims, who didn't play last week, he still needs to get healthy with a hamstring issue. Matthew Colburn, forearm injury, and a few others here or there. It's a pretty significant list of just banged up and dinged up guys. Kind of contributes to the possibility that Michigan might just, maybe at some point does just take it and swipes in a few people just so they can get a little less of beaten and bruised guys to where they can next week go for it all.
Right.
Go for the cheese, as I would say.
Yeah, I don't know what it is that feeling. Maybe it's just Skip Holtz is in the back of my mind, living rent-free. But, man, I don't know. I think the Stallions are going to win. I just feel like the Stallions, they're going to go out there, whether it's Corral, whether it's Martinez, I think they're going to be able to go and win. Then that's not necessarily my same thought with the conference championship, which we'll talk about next week. And we'll probably have a better vision on what that looks like after this game and who's playing and this and that. So I don't want to get ahead of the schedule just yet. But I feel like the edge is going to the Stallions. One, Michigan's nursing some injuries. To your point, even if a guy's ready to play, do you want to bring him back? We're going to talk about that a little bit more in the next game, because to me, oh my God, St. Louis, yes, you would love to have a home game stretch to end it, but at what cost? But we'll talk about that. I think the Stallions have enough firepower to get it done. Like I said, we'll talk about the conference championship next week. And we'll see. I mean, it'll be an interesting game. I think we'll know a lot more once we see the depth charts and all of that comes out, and we can see who's actually playing and who's doing what. But that's my thought right now.
Yeah, and it's Anthony. I'm a doofus. Anthony Blevins. I was mixing up Von Hitchens. Forgive me for that. But Anthony Blevins, who was supposed to be the Vegas Vipers head coach if the Vipers were to exist this year, he is now the DC in Birmingham. I can already hear read some of those comments are going, it's not Hutchins. Who the hell are you talking about?
Yeah.
No, it's Anthony Blevins. I know. I put the name to face. I mix things up, but it is what it is. And I'll tell you, I'm also going with Birmingham. I do think for Blevins that this is a vital game to get guys on the same page. Look, we brought it up in ATU, and I'm not going to back off from this. Even with John Chavis not being available, there's been some dumb penalties the last few weeks that Birmingham has not gotten out of the way of in their secondary or on defense. That's got to get cleaned up. That you can say that comes down to a part coordinator, but that also comes down to players just not being in it and not being fully focused. So that's got to get cleaned up. Personally, I still think they're a very talented unit, by the way, but they've really been shooting themselves in the foot lately with dumb personal foul penalties that just continue to allow teams the last 2 weeks to keep in it, or in last week's sense, the Brahmas to walk away with it, as we saw. Also, maybe, Skip, you do see him kind of keep Martinez out maybe for a few series. Like, hey, let's have some clean series and like put some stuff together against a pretty well-respected D. I don't think the Panthers play as many starters second half. I think first half they'll put guys out. They'll play them hard. They'll see what they got, kind of test the waters, if you will. But I think they pull them to let some guys rest because, again, there's really nothing to play for. If they could play for Ford Field, maybe there's nothing here, and it would be a long shot with 23 points to get as a win. They have to blow them out, which I don't see that happening whatsoever. So I digress. However, next game, this is the one besides me wanting to watch the Pooper Bowl this week, this is the game of the week. Simply for the fact there is going to be drama. There is going to be some debate leading up to this as how both teams manage and how both teams are going to play this one out, because this isn't for all the marbles to get to the championship per se on June 16th. But again, if you're St. Louis, and I look more at St. Louis in this case, San Antonio, they've gotten healthy at the right time. This is a team that's getting the pieces back. Chase Garbers was backing up last week to kind of just stay off, but now we know with Quentin Dormady being knocked out early and seeing Garbers back on the field most of last week, he's going to be playing for moving forward. So how much more does Garbers get back in the flow? Do we see? Who do they lean on more so? Is Kirkland going to get more reps or Smith going to get more reps with Cody Latimer being out this year on IR now, which is a shame. It's his final season of any football play, and he's going to get knocked out on IR to end his tenure. So that's a damn shame. But for the Battlehawks, do you potentially rush A.J. McCarron back? If he's not fully ready, do you have him go out? Or does A.J. force his way on the field?
Don't let him. Don't let him do it. I get it. You want to have that home stretch, but I mean, it might be a blessing in disguise, not a blessing, a curse in disguise, because if you further that injury, I mean, then you might not have that other home game that you're really looking forward to at the end of the year. Now, I'm not the coach. I'm not the player. I don't know how significant the injury is. So if he plays this weekend, I'm going to say he was ready. I'm going to hope that he was ready. I would hope that Coach Becht would be the coach that I think he is. I think he would say, no, AJ, this isn't the game. If this was the championship game, if this was even the XFL championship game, the conference championship game coming up, circumstances are maybe a little bit different. You need to live to see another day. Home field advantage, as great as that is, as wonderful as it would be to have 30,000 fans behind you, I mean, they have won a game without A.J. McCarron. It can be done. The Brahmas did look pretty damn scary last week against the Stallions. I mean, they ended their 15-game winning streak, right? But at what cost do you want to win? At what cost do you want that home field advantage? Now, again, if he's out there this weekend, I'm going to assume he's ready to go. But I would hope that they wouldn't let him force himself early. I would hope A.J. McCarron wouldn't let the coach force him in early, because for the better of the team, and I know some Battlehawks fans might be angry to hear this, but I actually think there's going to be a good amount that are like, yes, ref, please, thank you, set them straight. Because at the end of the day, I'm looking out for your team. I'm making sure that if you do get to the UFL championship, that you're in the best shape possible, which I would expect that the coaches feel that way too. Now, again, things do get a little bit different when I'm not there. It's hard to say. Selfishly, I do want the Brahmas to win because I can go to the game then.
You would be within you'd be in a decent drive to do it. You could do it that way.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, I'm so torn because I think that if you're a St. Louis fan, you probably maybe you puff out your chest like, oh, I bet we could go play in San Antonio with their fraction of, and I'm saying this as a fan. This is not me speaking.
Right.
Just so that no one in St. Louis comes with me or St. Antonio comes with me at pitchforks. I'm looking at you, Jorge Mata. Please do not find me if I say this. But I imagine a St. Louis fan puffing their chest going, oh, we can go play them with their 11,000 person crowd, blah, blah, blah. Again, not me. But I think if you're a Brahmas fan, this is where I'd be happy, where it's like, hey, they have to fall into it. The pressure's on them. How do they want to play this? Do they want to put AJ out there where we've had an excellent pass rush and risk getting beat up even more? He's less mobile right now because of his ankle being effed up the last few weeks, or do they put out Manny Wilkins, which, I mean, again, Wilkins can make magic happen, but we're going to be relentless in this, and we have a pretty damn good shot of getting a win, and then they have to come back to us, and we have to play there. We get to play in San Antonio, where we will most likely, to me, have the best crowd of the year. I guarantee if they win, they will have the best crowd of the season in that championship matchup if it goes back down to Texas. Now, the silver lining, and this is what's nice here Stephon, at least St. Louis gets to have a say in it. It is a home game for the Battlehawks.
Yep.
So even though AJ may or may not be in, may or may not be the starter, may or may not be the guy that they readily put in first, because last week they had him as the emergency set. They had him as a backup QB with the quote emergency tag on it. They get to play at home in front of what will most likely be 30,000 plus people. That will make it hard for Chase Garbers and AJ Smith and that whole offensive and defensive units of Wade Phillips' team to make them get a win. It's going to be a tough win if they get a win.
Oh, yeah.
They have to play at least through that Battlehawks audience first.
That is their secret weapon, man. That audience is not going to make it easy for the Brahmas to come in there and win that game. And yeah, I don't anticipate that we see a repeat of last week with what we saw with the Stallions. The Stallions, I don't want to delve too much into last week, but they just looked all out of sorts.
They did.
Come at me, bro. You all know I love the Stallions, and you're all gonna get mad at me. I'm a jinx. I'm a that. Keep saying it, and I will buy a jersey. What are you gonna do when I show up to the championship game in a Birmingham Stallions jersey? Oh yeah, you're gonna be big mad. Anyway, test it. See what happens.
Big man.
You know who you are. And I like these people. They act like I'm enemy numero uno bad guy out there. Anyway. Actually, no. I guess they went after Thorne more than me, but
no,
I get tagged on the damn internet all the time on being a jinx. I mean, just because my team lost doesn't mean I make your team lose. Now, you could argue that I did make your team lose last. Maybe I am a jinx. I don't know.
I mean, you did in theory. Never mind. You were wanting the loss. That's what they're saying. They're like, well, they got to get this loss, guys. They've had a loss every year. They got to get it so they can get rally for another trophy. To be determined. But they got to get through one of these guys. I'll tell you for prediction. I think either way, personally, I've got San Antonio with whatever situation happens here. I'm going to be frank. I do think with having AJ in, and credit, the Battlehawks have been dealing with some injuries with key personnel when it comes to like Ja'Cour Pearson, Marcel Aitman. You know, they've been trying to kind of get healthy too. But I think I'm going to go with San Antonio. Again, they're getting healthy at the right time. We've been seeing that Anthony McFarland is no joke in terms of the speed. They've been loving to get him used again. But I think Chase Garbers being back is what makes me make this decision. We're talking about someone that protects the ball really well and operates their offense in the way that I think they work best, which is they do the Houston method of keeping on schedule, but they do it and execute it properly where Houston does not. Whereas, and you'll notice this every game when it's Garbers in and AJ Smith, they love playing it where it's, okay, we're going to make sure it's like 3rd and like 3 every drive. And that's maddening for defenses. 3rd and shorts are ridiculously maddening for defenses because they're hard to stop. And teams like that keep on schedule like that all the time, they're hard to beat because you have to keep them behind the sticks. But if they don't allow you to get pressure, they don't allow you to get sacks, they don't allow you to stop them behind the line, and like say that 1st or 2nd down, they get you back within like 5 yards, it's hard to beat. I think this is where you see the best version of the Brahmas is now you have those pieces that were working so well early season, and now that defense has been lately they've been avoiding any questions on their secondary because their pass rush has been adequately above where it needs to be. I've got the Brahmas, but I don't think that counts them out for like say the week after because I think it depends. It really depends on AJ Smith's health. I'll be honest with you. I have a lot of this based on how healthy that ankle is. I've got San Antonio this week only because I don't think they'll be fully ready for what I think will be an even better matchup next week, wherever the hell we're playing.
I agree. Oh man, I'm so torn because I could see it going either way, but I'll be honest. I think you convinced me. I think I'm tipping to the Brahmas here too. I don't know. It just, the AJ McCarron thing, whether he's in or out, but again, I'm just going to assume he's not in. So maybe my opinion changes before then, but I'll stick to this. I think the Brahmas will edge it out. But then next week, I mean, it really is anybody's game. I don't know if we'll really see an indicator that will show us one thing or another. I mean, maybe we will in regards to the week after. Yeah, I think I'm edging towards the Brahmas. Maybe it's me kind of secretly hoping for it to happen just so I can go see the XFL Conference Championship game, because that would be fun. It's like a 3.5 hour drive. Hell, I'll do that. I drove up to Arlington, and it'll be fun.
I think for your sake, yeah, if you're wanting to go, like that's really nice. And again, I think for the Brahmas, look, like I said, the attendance, they're part of that whole group of teams right now. They're a bit better than some of the others, but attendance has been a lot of talk this year. Outside of St. Louis, every other team, all 7 of them maybe DC excluded, but the other 6 outside of DC and St. Louis, it's been a discussion. But I do think for their case, and I think for that fan base's case, like, look, I really want this win because we can at least even more so advertise out there like, hey, we are one step away from having a complete season turnaround. Like near complete is all I can tell you. And they will get high. Their top this year, if I remember right, was 14,000 opening game. I guarantee they'll beat that if they get a championship round matchup.
Yeah. No, it feels like it. Yeah. Because the team has proved themselves and we've seen it. The people in San Antonio will go to a spring football game. I just don't know if they had the confidence in the Brahmas this year. And I don't know if they truly understand the turnaround that team has had, but yeah, you get them into a conference championship. Hey, you know what? I think that'll put some butts in seats. So, hey, it's all in their hands this weekend. Let's see if they can get the opportunity to do so. Game of the week right there, people. That is easily game of the week if I'm going based on just what lies ahead, the implications at play. What is to me the nothing burger game of the week is Arlington and DC. And I don't mean to lay it like that. I think you can still have some fun, silver lining, good finish to the season. If you're a fan base, it all is fine. Arlington in particular, you gotta win. You're getting a little bit better play as of late. You got a win last week over the St. Louis Battlehawks, got a revenge win for a game that is another one of those that slipped out of your grasp earlier this year. And you're playing DC, who hasn't really been living up to snuff unless they are playing lower class opponents a lot of times like Memphis. So a lot of stuff I think to discuss in terms of is this a sneaky good game? I think. It could be a sneaky good game. You're right though. This if there was ever a game that could have been regionally broadcast though, where I would be like, okay, this would be it. This is the one. This is the damn one. I hate when it happened twice while I was at a game, and I'm like, come on, man, because I can't. It's so hard. At least when I'm home, I can have the dual screen on my computer. I'm sitting there like a schmuck with my phone out there, and that's impossible. Can we get this wrestling style where we have just said, screw it, DC's out, gets like a pass, and we just have a triple header match with all that'd be good. Sign us up. Do like a round robin in like Memphis. We'll just do 2 versus 1. Texas versus Texas Memphis versus Tennessee. Yeah, exactly. T versus T. But I don't know what to think of this game. It really depends which Renegades show up. Is it the Renegades that's, plays well and finishes the game? Is it the Renegades that can't do anything? Is it the Renegades that play well and screw it up near the end? I don't know. The Defenders, on the other hand, I don't know if they have the same consistency problems, but the one thing that was always in their favor that hasn't been this year is that home crowd advantage. Now, I have a theory. Maybe they need to throw some more lemons. We got the beer snake out there, but they didn't throw the lemons. The lemons were last year. They went 9-1. You kept the beer snake, but no, the magic was in the lemons. You guys need to have a little bit of a lemon party out there in DC. Toss one out. See what happens. Maybe so I'll tell you this. If we get 1 lemon, DC wins. If we get 2 lemons, DC blows them out. If we get no lemons, I don't even know who wins this damn game. I'm gonna go with this. So lately, I've been doing the I'm curious on the spreads, whatever. Maybe ESPN's finally got me. I don't know. Yeah. I'm using DraftKings. Screw ESPN Bet. I will keep doing it with that until they stop shilling it. DraftKings has a -2 odds favorite for DC to win this week at home. So it's actually the closest margin besides the Pooper Bowl. They're both -2. Houston, by the way, is the favorite for the Pooper Bowl, by the way. So damn right.
This is a silver lining. My question, though, is over-under. How many times does Chuck Long run a third down play with a different quarterback? You know damn well they're going to do it, but question is how often will they do it?
I mean, as many times as he can get away with it.
That's, you know what it covers. That covers everything. You know, screw it. I don't need a number from you.
Yeah.
You know what's going to happen, though, but okay, different question.
Yeah.
Who gets the first one? Allers or Scott?
Oh, Lindsey Scott. I know James
Okay.
Baker's not going to be happy to hear that.
No.
That's my take.
He's probably punching his phone right now.
No, damn it. That's the wrong answer.
Damn you. Why can't you get Holton?
Yeah.
He should be playing. This is a travesty.
But I mean, this game, the thing is, and I've said this earlier in the season, these games that you look at and you're like, geez, this ain't it. Sometimes they end up being the game.
It could be.
It could be. It could be the one.
It certainly
could
could
be
be.
the one. And it's last week. It's the last week of the season. Two teams that aren't in the playoffs. I feel like this game has the potential, as the next one does, probably more so the next one, to see circus plays, tricks, trying everything, just going all out. Like, I remember when the Lions were bad. We all know the Pat McAfee call when was it Prater at the time? I think it was, threw the touchdown in for the Lions. It was whoever our kicker was at the time. I think it was Matt Prater.
I believe you're right.
BDP as they call him. But anyway, he did it. He executed and McAfee went wild. So I feel like this game has the potential for a little bit of that. Probably more so the Pooper Bowl. We will see no stops pulled out to get that win, because I mean there is something on the line here, and it's prime time, baby.
My money is going to go with I'm going to go with DC, and the only reason isn't really anything in particular what stands out. Like, yes, I do think that DC's offense is super stop and start, but Arlington's defense is clearly still not. It's not a wet paper towel anymore, but it ain't like it's a damp paper towel.
Yeah,
that's all I can tell you. My thing is that I've been burned by picking Arlington in the past. Freaking San Antonio Brahmas game sticks out because I had them. I thought this is it. They're gonna get them over Quentin Normandy. Didn't happen. I ain't picking Arlington. Not again. Sorry. DC gets the win. Prove me wrong and make me flip the script again. I don't care. I've got the defenders. It'll be a good game. This one, I think I'm with you. I think it's gonna be sneaky good.
Yeah. I'm gonna pick the Renegades, and here's why. The Renegades are going to win, so the UFL doesn't have the problem with the draft lineup that we were talking about earlier. That's
It'll
why
just
they're
be a
going to
shut
win.
up moment.
Yep. Like, see,
Don't
it wasn't
worry
a problem. You shouldn't have doubted us, idiots.
Just like freaking guy in the crowd, he gets Daryl gets asked that question. He's like, don't worry about it, guy.
Yeah. Keep it down. Put that betting app away.
What if they freaking? Here's the scenario: is you got Daryl and Jim together one-on-one. Have you seen the Simpsons episode about the Stonecutters? You know what I'm talking about? They're walking out.
Yeah.
And a fan asks them that question. Asks them the question. And Jim goes, "It's a secret." And Daryl goes, "Shut up." I need it to happen. Final game on the docket. It is time. The Pooper Bowl. It is back. The second iteration. The last one being in 2022 with the USFL. That was then the Panthers taking on the Pittsburgh Maulers. I got to see the best game of any Paxton Lynch run in spring football, and it was that specific contest. At that time, Panthers walked away 33-21 and clinched the first overall pick for that collegiate draft in 2020 for the 2023 season at the time. This time around, all first overall picks are going to whoever takes the win. I did just mention Houston is the early favorite according to Vegas at a -2 if we're talking about that. But I mean, I don't know. They say it's close. I don't trust Vegas, by the way, with odds with this league. But I'll be frank, I kind of think that as much as it's a Pooper Bowl, I kind of think there's an obvious choice here for who's going to be the winner. I just don't trust Memphis at all. Nothing about Memphis has given
You
me
said the
faith.
opposite of what I thought you were going to say. I thought you were going to be like, Houston's going to run away with this.
I
I don't know, man. I do not
You have the better
know.
defense. That's the thing. The Roughnecks defense
And we have
is the
Mark
key.
Thompson now that we didn't before, right? So we are, because
Memphis's rush defense has been, again, it's overall their defense is garbage, but it consistently has been bottom of the barrel on all categories this year. Surprising, I know, given the front four that we touted at the beginning of the season that we thought was going to do a lot of great things and has not shown up. So I think there's an obvious choice here, but maybe Josh Love will surprise me, and maybe John DeFilippo at practice will give the best pregame speeches this week to where they say, you know what? Remember the Titans moment. Let's go out with a bang.
Josh Love, though, you know what? Maybe because he is a Pooper Bowl veteran.
He is a
So this is his second Pooper Bowl. So maybe
right.
he's
He
going
was
to take
with
some
the
lessons.
Maulers. He didn't start that game, though.
He was there. That's all that
He was there. That's all you need to know. Flashbacks.
As silly as this sounds, Zach, I think whoever wins the Michigan Panthers at Birmingham Stallions game is going to determine the winner of this game because, as everybody knows, including the players via Boogie Roberts, they're all aware of ref's law, and it's at 88.888 repeating percent on the season so far. And if it clinches this week, it's back-to-back seasons at 90%, which also, as of right now, and if we get this win this week, if ref's law is right this week, it will have a better regular season record than the Birmingham Stallions dating back to last season. Love it or hate it, I deserve a round of applause for that one. I took my own team out, so you can't even be mad at it.
This is borderline dumb how much this has worked in the last 2 years.
Shouldn't
But
that
at
be
some point
possible?
this year, I'm with you. I just can't ignore how consistent if one wins, the other loses.
And I'll have to
Except
double check.
Like, that's just it. It's I don't know how that works out, but it's dumb. It's just like funny dumb.
And I'll have to double check too, because I think ref's law has only been broken when both of our teams have lost. I don't think we have a ref's law where both teams won, like where it's been broken. I think it's either bad for one of us or bad for both of us. So it's
God.
I'll have to double check the stats on that one. But I feel like Houston should win this damn game. I feel like this should be the revenge game for week one. Our defense is there. Mark Thompson is back. Quarterback is a little sketch. The coaching, I don't want to say it, but it's a little sketch. I'll say this is tough to say because I know people are going to be like, what are you talking about? I think the Stallions have the edge on coaching. We have the edge on defense.
You mean the Showboats?
Sorry, the Showboats.
You gotta. I know what you were doing there, but so you Memphis on coaching. I agree with. I
don't want to talk down to my dude CJ Johnson, so I'll say this is not what I said. The fans in the crowd at this last game at Rice Stadium were actively trying to trick CJ Johnson into turning around so they could yell expletive things at him. Now, I don't agree with that. I don't like that.
Really?
But that is the state of things in Houston. I don't like that. I think that's mucked up. I mean, you got to give the guy a hard time about coaching. The dude's trying to coach, yelling at him the whole damn game.
Yeah,
we can
talk like off season about that. But like that's kind of.
Well, it's a bummer because he didn't stick around for the after the game fan engagement thing, which I don't know if that's why, but I mean, if I had half the crowd screaming crap at me, I'd be like, yeah, I ain't sticking around for this.
Damn.
So anyway, I will say I do give the coaching edge to the Showboats. They haven't shown it, but I don't know. Something, it feels like if both teams were put in, we have one drive to edge this game out, DeFilippo and company would be able to muster up a better game plan than Curtis and company. Whether they execute it or not, that's a totally different situation, right? I mean, this game could go either way. Again, I'm probably going with, so what did I say? The Stallions were going to win. So then I say the Roughnecks are going to win this game.
If you're doing Ruff's Law, I mean, you got to do it that way, and I'm also, I don't trust Memphis. You know me. My trust for Memphis was lost early in the year, and it has consistently gone downhill. I got to go with Houston. I know that it wasn't pretty last week, and they blew a double-digit lead to get Michigan the win and to keep refs intact. But I mean, look, Noah Henderson, what is the more exciting, I think, better option right now. And I just think that they're overall, yes, coaching has been rough. And hey, we can talk about that at the end of the season, which, according to what I've been reading up, contracts end in June for coaches. So you can talk about that in June, if you want to talk performance. But for now, let CJ do his thing. He's your guy. It's okay. We can breathe. I think he gets the win, and they get to, at least in a silver lining, even if he's not there next year. He gives them the first overall pick in the entire draft, and I think they get the win. I think they have a better front. I think they have a better front in both ends. Defensively, it's the key. Their defense has consistently been the bread and butter that's kept them in games all year. I think Henderson makes them have a much more viable offensive presence in this game, to where he can get a hold of Justin Hall, who's been the silver lining in the receiving core for the Roughnecks this year. And I think they lean on Mark Thompson because Memphis is the definitive wet paper towel as a rush defense. Shocks me still, I know, but they have been that.
Yeah.
They get a win, refs law is intact, and I think Houston at least gets to end the year saying, hey, you know what? Future is a little more bright. This year might have sucked, but hey, rumors of TDECU on the horizon. First overall pick in the draft come most likely, sound like I would assume later this fall. Things will be good. That's what I think happens.
Yeah.
I don't Memphis, to me, unless Josh Love is that much more sustainable passer and their line all of a sudden decides to take 1 week to just go, oh yeah, I forgot I can play football. It's not happening, guys. I mean, they don't have a run game. Houston has been solid in the run game this year already. I just don't see where you get any positive movement. I think this is going to be a definitive Roughnecks win.
Well, and I kind of look at who are the teams that were the Roughnecks were competitive with this year. Well, we gave the Brahmas a run for their money.
Yep.
They beat the Stallions. We beat the Renegades. The Renegades creamed the Showboats. And, so I look at that, and there might be something to it. It still could be anybody's game, but I don't know, man. Even the Panthers, we gave the Panthers a run for their money last week too. So when we look at the games that Houston has been competitive, it's against playoff caliber teams. Yeah, we didn't get the win, and we didn't get the win in the worst ways possible in some instances. And sure, the Showboats beat us in the first game of the season, but a little bit different team. We didn't have Mark Thompson. Our defense has gelled a little bit, and the Showboats have quite honestly fallen apart a little bit more since that week one. So yeah, I think the Roughnecks have the opportunity to do it. I'll know for sure after the first game of the weekend. If you win, it's all out the window. All bets are off. Roughnecks, oh my God. Well, we might get the number 2 or 3 seed. Oh,
somehow, some way, all bets are off. Memphis will have the best performance of the year. And it'll be against the team they beat week 1. They'll end the year the way they started the year.
I don't want to think about it. Let's hope for the best, especially if you're a Roughnecks fan.
Living by the law. living in the bounds of the law is the ref.
Stupid refs law. The dumbest thing I've ever thought of.
By the way, we got refs law merch now on the PFN store.
So, hell yeah, we do.
You want to rep the refs law and get that get the grimacing ref tee as well.
And I would even say hold off on the tee for now, because I'm going to probably update it at the end of the season once I have the official refs law number. Because if it's 90% again, it's going to say back-to-back 90% seasons, and then a little asterisk, better regular season record than the Birmingham Stallions since last season.
Really got to make sure that's on there. Got to make sure it's really present and boldly on Maybe italicized. I don't know.
It might be. I might put it in glitter. I might get some LED lights in there.
Custom glitter. Every Ref Slot t-shirt you receives, he has sprinkled his own set of glitter on it before he sends it out.
That's right. It's like when the e-girls do the hot tub, the bathtub water, and sell that online. I'll sell my finger glitter. Ew. I guess it's not the same thing at all.
I never want to associate you with hot tub water.
Oh, damn. That was my next thing I was going to start on Twitch, though.
No.
Come play video games with me, guys. I'm like tying up the shirt.
Future AFL multiplayer cast that you and I are going to have is going to be just biffed.
You'll be playing in a computer. I'll be playing with the Whirlpool jets on.
No, what you'll be doing is you'll have the hot tub, but to really sell it, you'll have it in your basement. Right next to carpeted floor.
I'll do I won't even get a hot tub. I'll just get one of those kiddie pools. Like the little.
Stick in a kiddie pool.
Be like Oscar the Grouch on it. Anyway, now we've gone too far.
All right. Anyhow, final thoughts of the week. This is kind of about it for us. I mean, kind of wrap some things up. Week 10's upon us. Championships are heading your way next week, which, I mean, basically we're going to be hyping up games that we do get somewhat of sneak peeks on. But like I said, it's a week 10 where you're playing your opponent back to back. It's a weird vibe. Mm-hmm. It's a weird vibe.
Yeah, it's interesting. And we have it in both games. I mean, we do have an exciting week for week 10. I know there was a lot of people that remember a couple weeks ago, the playoffs are set. The last few weeks mean nothing. I mean, 3 of the 4 games here mean something. You could argue the Panthers and the Stallions one doesn't really mean that much, but it does. It does for the players. Tell me it doesn't. You get Scooby, anybody, I know Scooby's he's not on the team right now, but you get any of these guys on the show and they're going to tell you that game matters.
It matters.
As do all the other ones. And you could say even the Renegades DC one matters because these guys want to go out with a win. So there's some of these guys, I know it sucks to hear it, but some of these guys that are playing in these games this weekend on the best teams and the worst teams aren't going to be playing next year. They want their last memory to be a win. And I want their last memory to be a win. So I think there is something to watch in that Renegades DC game, even if it seems like there's nothing. Pride, I've turned down a lot of things over pride, Zach. One of these days I'll tell the story. But today's not that day.
We'll circle back at some point. And folks, thanks for tuning on in. We got week 10 ahead of us. Got plenty more on the docket. More stuff for next season is going to be trickling out. We know it. More just details really for what's between the lines, and we're trying to figure that stuff out too here at PFN. And by the way, if you want to keep up with our own escapades on keeping up with that, as well as, by the way, a new segment you'll want to follow that I'm going to highlight. We kind of talked about ELF last week. Well, hey, season's in, and our own James Larson is doing recaps every week of the best from the ELF now. You can check that out at pfnewsroom.com. The week 1 edition dropped earlier this week. You'll definitely want to read up. Great piece, as always, from our own UFL insider in James Larson there. And he's going to be covering everything and anything about it all in one convenient article package for you if you want to keep up with the league. And trust me, ELF, definitely worth it. We talked about it last week. I don't want to go into too much detail again, but you know we're happy for them being in their 4th year. So be sure to follow along. But yeah, pfnewsroom.com for all the latest and greatest from anything our pro football staff has to offer, including UFL, ELF, and much, much more. Also, again, follow us on social at UFL Podcast, at PF Newsroom, at UFL Newsroom for all the latest. At Around the UFL for our Monday shows. By the way, next version ATU, post week 10, Monday, 6 p.m. Eastern here on this channel. You don't want to miss it. We're going to be previewing hardcore and possibly reviewing the Pooper Bowl results as well, hardcore, in that edition. You don't want to miss it for sure. And special thanks again to Boogie Roberts for joining us for that last one too.
Which, if you didn't watch that episode, you need to go back and watch it. It gives a run for the money for Jace's episode. And if you like the Jace episode, Boogie joined us for the whole show, mind you.
Yeah.
And again, he confirmed all the players know about ref's law. So go there, watch it, check it out.
League-wide. It's league-wide, people.
Yeah.
They know what's going on. Got to account for it when you prep for the week.
Damn right.
Yeah. Manifesting a Jace Boogie Roberts episode in the future, but jump on and help us get that push in the right direction for the offseason with Around the UFL. Again, 6 o'clock Eastern time, end of this week. We've been doing it every week. Great new front for us that we've been doing as part of the UFL podcast kind of universe. It's been awesome, and we're going to keep doing that for sure moving into next year and in the offseason beyond. Also, by the way, I mean, hey, if you want to follow along with all that stuff, hit the subscribe button below. Click the bell. Builds morale, not only for you, but for us too, and the rest of our PFN crew as we move on into the future. That being said, too, Ducky Collection, check that out. Help donate to Feeding America. Link in the description. Jump into our Discord. Join the chat. Link in the description. 10% off your own code at Breaking Tea. Link in the description. I have covered all the links in the description. I've got the whole show wrapped in one complete package. I'm Zach Heilman. He's the ref. We'll catch you next week previewing what is the championship series of games and 1 week closer to summer stock. Have a good one, everybody. See ya for episode 89.